Juandolyn Stokes right here, News and Talk, 1380 WAOK. And it is certainly a sister's takeover. For Women's History Month, we are bringing to you exciting shows. And today, we're going to be talking about and celebrating in honor of women and girls with HIV and AIDS Awareness Day, and also the Black Leadership AIDS Crisis Coalition and other things and other organizations that are sponsoring today. But we're going to talk about, just bringing some awareness to HIV and AIDS and some exciting programs that are coming up. So we certainly don't want you to go anywhere. It's an exciting day as our focus is on Black women. Now, just to give you a little background information, the CDC estimates that about 1.2 million people in the U.S. have HIV. Black people account for 13% of the U.S. population, but 40% of people with HIV. But now when we take a look at Black women, right? For Black women, 91% of new HIV infections were attributed to heterosexual contact, while the HIV infection rate among Black women was the highest compared to women of all other races and ethnicities. So when we look at these numbers a little bit closer, approximately 13% of Black people with HIV in the U.S. still do not know their status. And this is very important to us to understand. And even when we look a little closer, are few receiving adequate HIV care and treatment that will really help them to get and keep viral suppression and to live longer and to live healthier lives. Black women continue to be disproportionately impacted by HIV and accounting for nearly 60% of the new HIV infections in U.S. women, despite making up less than 15% of the female population. This is why we've got to talk about this and bring awareness. I mean, the rates of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, are highest among Black women, and guess what? They are increasing. So we welcome you today to share with us, and we invite you to join the conversation. Now, here's the number for you to call if you have questions for our guests: 404-726-1380. 404-726-1380. And so at this time, I want to welcome our guests with us today, Marcella, Frida, Mia, ladies of class and distinction. Welcome. How are you all doing? Great. Wonderful. Wow. You all look amazing. We're showing the world how Black women can look beautiful and wonderful. And we're so glad to have this conversation with you today. Well, Marcella, tell us about, your interest in and involvement in helping to raise awareness about HIV and AIDS among Black women.
Sisters with a Voice, I took on this task about a year ago.
Okay.
And wasn't quite sure which way we were going. I knew we were sisters with a voice.
Okay.
And when I met the women, there were some trust issues.
Okay.
And so first I had to develop a relationship, and they trusted me. So where are we now? So we began with, I don't know who you are. How long are you going to stay with us? And where we are now is we have a group of women that are intentional with their story, intentional with their life. They are intentional with living and thriving with HIV. So what does all of that mean? What we've done with the women that are living and thriving with HIV, we have now brought the other women to the table.
Okay.
And so bringing other women to the table, who are those women? Women that are HIV possible.
Yes.
Women that are status neutral.
Wow.
Because we actually have more in common than not. And so we're changing the narrative. So we are sitting women at the table. We are talking about what it means to be HIV possible or living with HIV. What that means in living with HIV. We are living and thriving. We are U equals U, which is undetectable. Mm-hmm. Help me out, Frida. It is Freda. Help me.
U equals U is undetectable. untransmittable,
undetectable.
Yes. As long as a person is taking their medication, the virus is not transmitted to their sexual partner.
Okay.
So that's why we always try to make sure it's important that the ones that are diagnosed, that they continue to take their medication so that way they don't spread the virus to their sexual partners. So it is possible that you can be in a serodiscordant relationship where one partner is negative and the other partner is positive. So that's why it's very important that the ones that are take their medication.
Wow, that's good to know. Do you find, Freda, that a lot of women are afraid to take the medicine?
Yes, we do. We do find it hard for some of them to take the medication. That's where stigma come in place. Some of them may be afraid that I don't want my parents to know, I don't want my partner to know, I don't want anyone to know. So when that comes in place, the stigma, it makes it hard for them to take the medication, go to the doctor, and keep up the diagnosis.
But are black women going to the doctor regularly to get checked?
No,
that's
no.
a major
Now that
problem.
I'm glad you asked that question, because we are not getting tested enough for the virus, because we don't think we are at risk. That's the thing. We don't think we're at reason. Let me say at reasons.
Okay.
We don't think we are at reasons for getting a diagnosis because we may be in a committed relationship. So we don't think we're at reason. We have one partner. We are not substance user. So we don't think we're at reasons. So we don't think to get tested until it's time to get tested. We may find out that our partner has it, or we may find out, something is not right with my body. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
Or I'm pregnant.
Yeah,
I'm pregnant now. So now when you're pregnant, you're going to get tested. So that's when I'm not going to say it's too late. It's never too late to get tested. So that's where we're seeing that they wait until late to get tested. It's very important that you get tested. Depends on how often you're having sex. Now you can get tested every week if you want to, every month. But if you know you're putting yourself in positions to get a diagnosis, it's very important to get tested often.
That's good. What are some of those symptoms for women who are in denial or not getting tested? What are some of the symptoms that women may have and they're HIV positive or they haven't gotten the test yet?
I didn't get any.
Wow.
I didn't have any.
That's real. That's real. Yeah. Because like you just said, you've got to go and get tested because you can have no symptoms at all and still be HIV positive.
Yes.
What is your message that you constantly say to women that you encounter about the importance of getting tested?
The message that I try to tell women is that we are human beings, we are sexual beings, and it's okay if you want to do that. It's okay. But what I need you to do is to understand that testing is out here for a reason, for you to get tested. And don't be afraid to go to your doctor. Don't be afraid to call AHF, Aid Atlanta, and ask them for a test. Testing is free out here.
Yeah.
You have tests now. You have at home test kits now. I say this, the at-home test kit, you get your results back in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Now, if I can say this, foreplay is lasting sometimes about 20 minutes.
Right.
By the time you finish, you have your results back.
That's right.
So take that at-home test kit. Don't be afraid to take that kit with you.
That's right.
We take our cell phone with us, but we don't want people to call us all the time. So why not be prepared?
That's right.
Take it with you. Before you get engaged into sex, do the test. It'll be back. The results will be back by the time you finish. By the time you finish foreplay. Yeah, it'll be back. So don't be afraid to utilize the things that we have out here in the community.
That's good. Marcella, you were going to add something to that?
Yeah, that's why we are bringing all the women to the table because, again, we have more in common than not.
Yes.
And so I'm HIV possible, but my sister may be HIV positive, but then we have something else in common, that we are living and thriving with getting through domestic violence, that we are living and thriving through substance abuse, that we are living and thriving through mental health. And so when we get more women together, we sit at that table and we realize that we have more in common than not. And then we can support each other. There was a tea party yesterday. There were more women that were status neutral than women that were living and thriving with HIV from the acknowledgement of who stood up.
Right.
And so that says something. And it says that women that are status neutral, they are hungry for this information. And now we're having these conversations.
I see. That's good. We'll go to break, and we'll be back with more. It's On Point with Juandolyn Stokes. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. And so, as we continue this conversation, we were talking earlier about HIV possible, right?
Yes.
And what does that really mean?
And I am HIV possible if I am sexually active and I don't know my partner's HIV status. Then the reality of it is that I can get, or I can contract HIV. Mm-hmm. The other part to that is what we are pushing is that we want women to be able to stand in their yes and understand that our yes is powerful, but our no is even more powerful. So our no is N-O and to K-N-O-W.
Okay.
And so with that, when we are being sexually active, we can say no. Do you have, or are you on PrEP? So PrEP is a prophylactic medication that you would take on a daily basis, and that if you take it regularly, the way your doctor tells you to take it, if you have a partner and you don't know their status, you're not going to get HIV if you're not having safer sex. Mm-hmm. And so safer sex is a condom. There's no such thing as safe sex, but it's safer sex.
Safer, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so HIV possible is very simple. If I am having sex and I don't know their status, then I am possibly infected with HIV.
And elaborate a little bit more, in either one of you, about the neutral status. I remember you mentioning that. Mm-hmm. What is that in particular?
So what we are doing now is doing the status neutral approach, bringing women in that does not have a HIV diagnosis, so that way they can see that they are at risk as well.
That's good.
Because they see that circle, that common thread that we all have, and it makes you possible also. Because in our circle, we have women that are recovering addicts, we have women that are married, women that had one partner, women that may have had more than one partner. Yeah. But we all have that common thread. So we're bringing them all in, even professional, homeowners, whatever it is, we all have that common thread. So we want them to see that, wow, that looked just like me. I can use my story. Someone can say, wow, I was a hairstylist too. I'm a hairstylist. Mm-hmm. I own a hair salon. I'm an entrepreneur. That looked just like Freda. Freda looked just like me. So we want them to see that. So we're bringing them to the table as well, so they can see that they are at reasons also.
Because in the past, hasn't it been kind of divided? It's they and then us.
Yes.
That's why I like the status neutral, because you're bringing all women in.
Yes.
And say, listen, it can happen to any one of us. Yeah.
Yes.
Mia, tell us about your story. Glad to have you here with us today.
And this coming into that neutral, I was a neutral before I was a positive.
Okay.
Because as a pastor, I was one of the ones that was doing the counseling prior.
Okay.
I was on that opposite side of the table, counseling those that were coming in positive, telling those that were outside, God still loves you. Mm-hmm. You can recover. Even though you're tested positive, even though that you're doing this, God still loves you. Mm-hmm. And then now I am a positive. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay, but how did this happen to me?
Yeah.
Now I am positive. Now, I'm diagnosed. And so now, where do I fit into this?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, I had to get that epiphany, and God had to actually speak to me and said, I didn't do it to you, I did it for you.
That's good. Wow, that's good. You preaching already. Well, hold on a second. We're going to come back with a sermon from Mia as we continue this conversation about HIV. It's On Point with Juandolyn, Stokes News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Stokes, right here, News and Talk 1380 WAOK. And right before we went to break, Mia was about to preach. She was talking about being positive and counseling, but then also being diagnosed as being positive with HIV. Mia, talk to us again and continue sharing with us, your story, how you shifted from counseling people, and then when you became positive, did your counseling shift?
It shifted to the point where now, after just diagnosing the fact that now I have it myself, and I had to live with it, I had to live through it.
Okay.
So I wanted to learn everything about it. But I was fortunate that God allowed me to be introduced to people like Freda and like Hermione, who we just lost, to just teach me and nurture me about it. And show me how to be an advocate for it, so that I could now teach people and help them be the person who I am now, and let them know that if you want to live, you can live through it.
Yeah.
That there's medicines out there for it. There's housing out there for it. There's means for it, and you can live through it, and you can thrive with it if you want to.
If you want to, that's right. And that's why these types of panels are important, because we're able to educate and inform a lot of people about it. Do you believe that the faith community, leaders in the faith community, should be more knowledgeable?
I do believe and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And so, because I was diagnosed in 2017, 2019, I did my first public speaking, and I did at a women's conference.
Wow.
And when I did my first, and when I said I did my first speaking, and at the end of it, I said, and I am HIV positive, mouths open. I said, close your mouth. Because, yes, I am Pastor Mia Allison, and I've been pastoring for 30 years, and God gave it to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How was that first experience, speaking?
For me, it was vibrating.
Okay.
I felt invigorated, and I felt, and for me, it was empowering. Because afterwards, I was actually helping them clean up. And I actually had another woman of God that came up to me and said, "Woman of God, that was so powerful what you did. I'm there, but I'm not there."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, that's why I'm here. That's why. Because there are people that are there and they're doing it in silence.
Yeah.
So now I got to go in and pull them out and help them." Because they're not going to say it. So I got to let them know it's okay. It's okay. You can take the collar off, because you can still get the help.
That's right.
It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter that you have a title. You can be an apostle and you can still live with HIV.
That's right.
You can be a bishop and you can still live with HIV.
Absolutely. So how have you all helped women who are living in silence and shame? Like, what do you say to women who have shame and living in silence?
There is no condemnation. You can still come. There's a seat for you right here.
Yes.
You can still sing on the choir. You can still come in the house of God.
Yes.
He still loves you.
Yes.
He still will. You can still come in this and serve. There is no condemnation.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So how has the faith community evolved over time with this whole topic of HIV and AIDS?
It's shifted.
Okay.
It's shifted, and God did it.
Okay.
He had to separate the terror from the wheat, and He did it.
Okay.
Man couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
He did it,
Yeah.
and we're seeing it done in His way.
Yes. Yes.
We're seeing it done in His way.
That's good. Freda, have you seen the faith community evolve over
We're
time?
still working on them.
Okay.
It's still some work, and it's stigma due to the lack of knowledge. We have to go into the church and educate them. First, we have to start with the pastors,
Uh-huh.
and allow his deacon board, educate the deacon board first.
Okay.
So that way we can then go to the pastor
Yes.
and educate them, because it's just stigma due to the lack of knowledge. I try not to be so hard on them, because I do understand stigma. Because why would I go and pick up a Sports Illustrated magazine when I don't even know how to do a flip? So why would I pick up that book? So with the pastors, why should I talk about HIV on my pulpit when I don't think my congregation is even diagnosed with HIV?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go in and educate them more and let them understand that you may have 10% of your congregation diagnosed with HIV, but you don't know because you're not talking about it. So we go in and we talk to them and try to get them to open up a little more. Yes.
That's good. That's good. Marcella, in a lot of churches, companies, and businesses, we hear a lot of talk about like DEI training, and there's so many other trainings. Do you think that in the corporate world and in businesses, as well as the church, that there should be training and education on HIV and AIDS?
Yes, absolutely. And so since I've been in this position, I've been blessed to be able to go to the Apostolic Church.
Okay.
And the bishop said that we are going to have a conversation. It was a women's conference. And the bishop was there. The first lady was there. There was probably about 80 women that were there. It was me as church. But she invited me in. And I said, to the Apostolic Church? And she said, yes. And the bishop said it is necessary for us to start talking about it. So the conversation for me in that church was, we ain't going to talk about nobody having sex, right? Because that's not what happens up in here. And Bishop nodded his head, and we were able to give information and education and support women around decision making and coming to Aid Atlanta to get tested for HIV. So absolutely, we need to talk about it, and we need to break the stigma. And our pastors, our bishops, our leaders, our mothers, our fathers, whoever, we need to be real about it and be able to meet people where they are and not judge them, because I started off when I was at the church, and I went to scripture first. And so I'm not telling you to go and to fornicate or do any of those things, but I want you to have a toolbox available. And that's where we need to talk to specifically our young ladies, because here in Atlanta, we are like number 2 for that childbearing age and getting HIV.
Okay.
So we as middle-aged women that are possible or positive, we've got to have these conversations and not be afraid to have these conversations with our young ladies.
Because are the younger generations really not talking about it much?
No, they're not talking.
Yeah,
they're on their
just having
phones.
fun and enjoying life.
And they're on their phones and they're not paying attention. We had a meeting last week with Spelman College, so we're doing some intergenerational work.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. And the young ladies did not know about PrEP.
Wow.
They didn't know what that was.
Okay.
So they're 20.
Yes.
They're 22, 19, and they don't know about PrEP. And so, again, they don't understand what it means to be powerful in saying yes, but what it means to be powerful in saying no.
That's it.
Stand in your no and say, would you, have you? And so we're trying to give
That's
power
good.
back to our young ladies.
I
as
love
well.
it. I love it. Reaching out, one sister helping another.
Yes.
We'll go to break. We'll be back with more on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. The impact it has among Black women. And we're glad to have as our guests Marcella, also Freda, and also Mia. They're sharing with us today. As we continue this conversation, I think I've got Maggie holding. Maggie, welcome. Hey, Maggie, how are you?
Oh, I am doing fine. Let me turn the radio on. I have a question, and I'm so glad y'all talk about this topic because we all suddenly are silent now. Back in 2000, we was talking about HIV, and I'm letting you know I am so glad that you are out there talking about it, informing people. But it's a true story. I was a foster parent, and they put a child in my house. I didn't find out until she had a baby, so she turned 14, 15. That's in 2000 now. People didn't talk about it. And she had HIV. But I found out she living today healthy. I mean, not healthy, but she had her baby. If I would have never known till she had her baby, they knew that she was HIV. She's one of the crack babies, okay? That the babies who were born in 2000, DFACS had an epidemic with children with HIV. But today, how at 14, 15, finding that you was HIV, not just that they knew and you didn't tell her. So I had to get her, I kept her. I had to get her prepared, her mind, and just imagine you had to go through this, but you knew all this baby, this crack baby was HIV. You didn't even tell me. But what I had to do with her at a teenager, for her to say, I said, back in the day, you know, my mother died of cancer. No one during that time in the 40s and 50s talk about cancer. But what I'm just saying, we have to be knowledgeable and we have to be informed because they did not tell these children that they was HIV. And you know that was a devastating for this 16. She turned 16. That's when she had her baby. But we not educating ourselves, and she is doing fine, and her baby is doing fine. So what I'm telling you, I'm glad that you're talking about it. And like you're saying, people don't want to talk about it. It's still, you know, family members. But she's living, like you're saying, that that prep, the medicine that she's taking, and she's still doing well. She is 32 years old now. And I'm glad that go on and talk. We're not talking now. We are silent with this. Because back in the epidemic, we talked, money was there. Everybody was, you know, talk. When money go away, guess what? We silent. And we got a lot, like she's saying, there's a lot of people out there do have the virus. But we know what? God is good. Because like she's saying, if that child had never came in my house, I was able to take care of her. And then also that she could have committed suicide. Because during that time, in 2000, nobody talked about HIV. It was a shame. And that what I'm saying today, like you're saying, God brought her in my house for me to nurture her and her baby. So keep on talking.
Thanks a lot, Maggie. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Stay healthy, stay connected, stay on point. Freda, tell us about your story. How is it living with HIV?
Hi, everyone. First, I want to say thanks for having me here. With me, living with HIV is a normal life. I still do everything that I was doing before, except doing splits and flips.
Okay.
And dance. I can't dance. I promise y'all, I can't dance. So don't let this look fool you. I can't dance. But I still live my life. You know, I was the one that self-stigmatized myself.
Okay.
I have always had a job. I've always been that entrepreneur, but I self-stigmatized myself in the past. I used to think like, oh, I don't think I can own a house. I didn't think I could own a house. But when I turned 49, I decided to buy a house. I was like, girl, you've been working all these years. What make you think you can't own a house?
Yes.
I used to say, oh my God, if something happened to me, who gonna pay the rent? Girl, if something happened to you, who gonna pay your mortgage?
Yes.
So I had to continue to receive what I was always given. Now I've been diagnosed for 21 years, but I'm always giving the love. But wasn't giving it back to myself. Like, girl, you know you can do this. Girl, you know, I'm telling everybody else that.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, let me go get this house.
Wow.
But life for me with HIV, I don't have any complaints. I promise you I don't. If it's any complaints I have right now, I have on flats. I'm 54 years old.
Uh-huh.
I can't be wearing these heels like I used to. But other than that, I'm living my life.
Yeah.
I can do anything that anyone else out here can do. I was in a relationship for 4 years with someone that knew his diagnosis, but I didn't know. The reason I didn't know because I didn't ask. We don't know because we don't ask. I didn't ask him. He didn't tell me. He stayed in denial until he passed away. But it has still been a great journey for me. Some people don't understand when I say these been the best 21 years of my life.
Wow.
These been the best because I know who I am now.
Yeah.
You know I can continue to be the woman that God put me out here to be the woman that my mother and my grandmother, you know, coming from the hood, but we were still, they still taught us about life. You know, I can still be that and been the best these 21 years.
But isn't that sometimes what women do, you know, self-stigmatize, you know, don't take care of themselves and talk positive to themselves? What are a couple of tips that you would give to women who may find themselves in that same place?
Love yourself first.
Okay.
Because once you love yourself, the family gonna be okay. But you have to love yourself first. Everything else around you is going to be okay. But once you show yourself what you deserve and what your worth is, the whole house is going to be just fine.
Wow.
The whole house is going to be fine. If they see that you're good, the whole house. So people know when they come into my house, don't bring that negative energy.
That's right.
No, they know, don't bring that negative. No, you can't. Don't come in here with that. No. Yeah. Bring love, peace, and joy because they know that's what I bring. I put out love, peace, and joy.
As you've encountered other women, what are some of the challenge that you found other women to have?
Ooh, it's a lot of challenges. At this moment, I have a support network of over 350 ladies. And so I have to listen to all of the challenges they have. This main challenge is disclosing.
Okay.
That's one of the challenges that they have, being able to tell their family that they are diagnosed or their friends. Some have lost best friends due to telling them their diagnosis. And also some of the challenges are being able to get to some of the events that we may have because now we are thriving. We are working 9 to 5.
Yes.
And they can't come to some of the educational programs. That's why we are now doing things that not the regular hour. Okay. You know, we're doing things after 5 o'clock now.
Okay, good.
For the working class as well.
That's
so that
right.
way they can come and get that education and get that knowledge and we can pour into them and let them know we are here for you. All I ask them to just trust me. That's what I tell people, whether it's a man or woman, when they come to me, I say, just trust me. You'll be fine.
Wow, I see. We'll go to break and we'll be back. We're going to come back and hear Mia's story and also talk about what it's like to build the confidence of a woman who has to tell her family, friends, and support group. What is that like? It's On Point with Juandolyn Stokes. For News and Talk, 1380 WAOK. Right here on Point with Juandolyn Stokes. In honor of National Women's and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, and also the Black Leadership AIDS Crisis Coalition, powered by AHF and the HVTN Faith Initiative. We're joined together, WAOK, On Point with Juandolyn Stokes, with our amazing guests as we're talking about and bringing awareness about HIV and AIDS and its impact among Black women. Let's talk about building that confidence, Marcella. How do you build that confidence or courage, should I say, to women who are having to now tell their family or tell their support group or friend? Because that can be very traumatic for women.
So just recently, what I experienced last week, Mia was there, that there was one woman that has been living with HIV for 38 years, and she's never spoke about it. So what did we do? We rallied around her,
Okay.
and we supported her, and she screamed and she cried, and she became free. But the women that are her sisters that are living with HIV supported her in such a way that we have a program coming up, and she's like, I'm going to be that woman that's going to speak. And I said, okay. So we have to just meet women where they are. It's real important to just meet them where they are. My story ain't like your story. And I, as a woman living as HIV possible, I have to share my story. My story is not like theirs, but I have to share my story so they understand that, wow, she got a story too.
Yeah.
That's for a whole nother time, not today. But I got a crazy story, and I got a crazy story of redemption. And so when I share that, again, that's that whole status neutral.
I see.
Where we just sisters, and I got you. I am my sister's keeper.
That's it. That's it.
Like real talk.
Yeah.
I am my sister's keeper. And we had a program last year in October, and we had like 60 women, status neutral women, and women that were living and thriving with HIV. And we made a commitment to each other because there were women there that were not ready to disclose their status. And because it was a status neutral approach, those women were safe, and they were able to get the information, receive it, and then move forward in their own way. And so from October of last year to where we are right now, we have 2 of those ladies that are now saying, I am living and thriving with HIV.
I love that. Living and thriving with HIV.
And flourishing.
That's good.
Yeah, and being and loving who we are as individuals, just loving ourselves. Like Freda said, that we love ourselves. Listen, these women love themselves in such a way that it's infectious.
That's good.
Yes.
That is good.
Yes.
That's what we must have.
Yes.
That keeps the sisterhood
Yes.
alive,
Yes.
Yeah. Mia, what about your story? Share with us, how is it living with HIV?
For me, living with HIV, it's new because I had to learn me all over again.
Okay.
I find it fascinating because each and every day I get up and it's like, okay, girl, you here. What we doing today? What are we doing today? Because each and every day is a new day, and it's something that you can do new today. Who am I going to help today? Who am I going to inspire today? Because I'm one of them ones that gonna call you on the phone like Freda and be like, okay, what you doing? Okay, why you ain't out the bed yet? Oh, you ain't feeling good. Have you called your doctor? Have you made a doctor's appointment?
Yeah.
Oh, do you need some orange juice? Okay, you ain't got no orange juice. Okay, we're gonna get you some orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, and I'm loving life now. I'm loving this life.
That's good.
I'm loving this life.
That's good. And as a pastor, how have you dealt with any types of negativity or even the faith community that is yet not open to even having the discussion?
This joy that I have, you didn't give it to me.
Yeah.
This life that I have, you ain't give it to me. You don't matter to me.
That's right.
But I'm going to still pray for you.
That's good. I love it. I mean, just sharing and spreading that spirit of love to even those
I'm gonna
who
still
don't
pray
understand.
for you.
Yeah.
Next.
That's right. That's good.
Next.
That's good. Awesome. So when we talk about HIV in the community, what is important for women to know after they have been diagnosed? Like even going to the doctor and even being on medicine, are there changes in one's habit that they must make overall when you talk about it?
What we tell them is once they're diagnosed is to still live your normal life.
Okay.
You know, eating right, what we're supposed to do anyway.
Yeah.
Eat right, exercise. And we try to tell them to not stress so much, you know, because stress can cause your T cells to go down and then you're going to have some other problems. Even if you're on medication, stressing is not healthy for you. So we try to stress the importance of getting your support network. Educate yourself first before you try to disclose your status to anyone. Once you educate yourself and you disclose to someone, you know that you are still okay because you staying compliant to your medication. You have a support network now and you're doing great. So we always stress that to them when they are newly diagnosed. Get your support system, get your sister circle, and you'll be fine.
That's good. That's good, man.
And do your research as well.
Okay.
Learn as much as you can on your own because people are going to be telling you everything. You're going to be getting all kind of people telling you everything, and everything that you hear ain't going to be all actual factual.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Get your own information so you will know what's true and you'll know what to do and what not to do. Because again, everybody going to be telling you everything, but get your own, do the research but there's a wealth of information out there, but there is some good information and bad information.
Yeah.
But you can live and thrive with it.
That's good.
You can live and thrive with it.
That's good. Deborah?
And not Dr. Google.
Right. Please don't Google.
Please don't.
Google is not a primary
Dr. Google.
source.
No, Dr. Google is not a primary source of education.
That's right.
PhD folk. PhD folk.
Deborah, are you holding?
Yes. Hi. I want to say much
Hi,
respect.
Deborah.
Hi. How are
What
you?
about-
Thank you for taking my call, Juandolyn. Well, so much courage for the
Deborah?
women. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Juandolyn?
Yes, I can hear you now, Deborah. Go right ahead.
I was just saying, I applaud the ladies, but I do have, I wanted one question because if they're in Georgia, I wanted to know how Georgia, the state of Georgia, is treating Black women with HIV because I know we don't have expansion on Medicaid and Medicare. So I'm wondering how those individuals who don't have that insurance, how they're being treated by the state of Georgia in the system. And then I kind of like, I didn't want anybody's personal experience or what have you, but why is it that Black women are still contracting HIV at these alarming rates? You know, when we talk about the information, why do you ladies think that Black women are still contracting this disease at these rates in 2024?
Good questions. Hold tight, Deborah. Don't go anywhere. We'll go to break and we'll come back and have our panelists to respond. We'll go to break. We'll be back with more News and Talk 1380 WAOK. It is on point with Juandolyn, Stokes and News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Deborah, you still here? I want the panelists to respond to our questions about these alarming rates in Georgia. Marcella, what do you say to that?
Deborah.
So we first want our women to, that part of our reason, well, our main reason in being here is that we want to encourage all women to go get tested. And so with that, AHF and Aid Atlanta, we are committed to one, free testing. And then two, if you should test positive for HIV, we will get you into care in the first 72 hours of your diagnosis. And so what does that look like? Doctor's appointment. If you need mental health services, we have a behavioral health specialist team. And we will do, your doctor will talk to you about your treatment plan. And so regardless on your ability to pay, we are committed to service you so you can get all of the services that you need.
Wow, that's great. That's
Yes,
great.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no reason. You never have to worry about coming to us and we're looking for payment. We are committed to walking you through and supporting you through this process.
That's good. I mean,
Yes.
committed to that care process. So,
Yes.
women, you're not alone. You'll never be alone. There's
Right.
always, your organization and
Yes.
there to help women
Yes.
throughout the process. Fred, what were you going to say?
Yes, I was gonna talk about the alarming rate that we
Yes.
have here in Atlanta. Now I'm going to go back to the church. This is
Okay.
just what I hear from my network of women that I've been blessed with to support. And this is no disrespect to anyone. Y'all, please don't call the radio station in and say Freda said this. This is what Freda feel.
Okay.
And this is what Freda have heard from her network. Not every man that engaged in sex with a woman and a man is comfortable with sharing that with the woman. Because y'all know good and well, as a black woman, if you tell her, oh, I used to sleep with men, girl, what the? I ain't finna get out my house, instead of saying, okay, you used to. So are you still involved in those activities? So what I'm seeing in the black men is that MSM, same gender lover, but they can't share that. Because their mama want them, oh, you supposed to get married to Keisha and have a house with a white picket fence and have kids. So their parents are pressuring them. So now they have to be bothered with Keisha. They have to be with Keisha. And when I finish with Keisha, I have to go and talk to Tony.
Okay.
So they are not comfortable with letting their parents know that, no, this is what I choose. This is what I want to do. This is how I was born. I want to be with the man. So now they have that problem that they have to do. I'm not going to say it's a problem, but they choosing, it's like, it's hard for them. The church wants you to be one way. Your parents want you to be one way, and it's hard. So now you're having sex with men and you're having sex with women, and women are not asking the proper questions.
You keep saying that.
Because we don't ask the question. Like, when the last time you been tested? We don't even ask them about the prostate.
True.
Have you been tested for prostate cancer?
Yeah.
We ask them, have you been tested for COVID? What bank account do you have? Or what kind of job do you have?
Yeah.
But we are not asking, when the last time you got tested for HIV?
Mm-hmm.
How many partners do you have? We're not asking those questions. We worried about what kind of car you drive, what job you have. Some of them even asking how many inches you got.
Yeah.
Instead of asking them, is anything wrong with those inches that you have in there?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just being honest.
Looking
wrong?
at
Is
the inches,
anything
measuring
there?
the inches, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But asking the right
We're not asking
questions
the right question.
is so important. That's good.
Yes.
Joe, welcome to the conversation. Go right ahead.
Hello, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'll live till I die. One thing on this issue, I got about 4 things I wanted to point out. Number one,
Okay.
black women are falling victim to this because our enemies have targeted us. They have plans to do harm to us, and this is just one of their weapons. And when the gay community comes in and entices your men to do things that are not according to the will of biology, then these incidents will happen. What we have to do is get more sophisticated about how we protect ourselves medically. And that's by getting, you can go on the internet worldwide and find out how many different detection systems for viruses that there are available to you, and purchase one that suits your needs. And secondly, people should go to a doctor before they get intimate with someone. And if that person is not willing to go, then that means there's something wrong there. You should know that. You should take that as a warning signal. And lastly, whenever people come to you and tell you that your ways and your beliefs are obsolete, it means they are planning to do something to you, and they just don't want you to get sophisticated enough to detect it. And if you don't want to follow Mama's advice about not jumping in bed with everyone you come in contact with, then you should at least buy or gain access to a microscope. That way, all you have to do is get a swab from someone and look up underneath it and see if there are any germs in there or anything other than blood vessels or what's supposed to be there. And then you can just look it up in a medical directory to see if there's something that you shouldn't be involved with in there. And if you don't do anything else, then you can get a medical journal and learn what the warning signs of various STD diseases are: bumps and zits on the face, discoloration in the eyes, or discharges that are coming out from nowhere. And from that's your warning system. And lastly,
all right, Joe. Well, listen, I heard what you had to say, and I'm going to have the panelists to respond because you said a whole lot in there. But we'll go to break, and we'll come right back. Thanks for calling. Stay healthy, stay connected, stay on point. We'll be back. Live well, win well. It's On Point with Juandolyn, Stokes and News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Marcelo, did you even understand what Joe was talking about?
Well, bless his whole heart. The whole heart.
The whole
Joe.
heart.
And so I get that you're very passionate on HIV and in everything that you said. But listen, we're not doing no microscopes. Think about if somebody wanted to do a microscope with you and swab you before sex. I understand it to a degree that, you want to be thorough. But Joe, we can't do that. And the reality of it is that what we really want to do in all seriousness is that we want to be able to go get tested before anything happens. So then we don't have to, it's almost like a violation to do a swab and all of that. So if we do things decently and in order, and that means going and get tested, talking to your partner, asking the right questions, then we don't need to go through all of what you stated that we should do. They are options. There's just not an option for me, though.
Yeah.
And I don't know about our panel, but I don't. That's
other panelists. What do you say?
What I like to tell people is that this body was borrowed. We borrowed this body.
Yes.
And you are supposed to protect it. You only have one life and one body. Protect your body. Never leave someone else responsible for your health. And I can speak on myself. I left him responsible for my health.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for this. Not him, not her. I'm responsible. I should have protected myself. And that's where it has helped me to thrive these past 21 years. It's because I accepted what part I played in it. Mm-hmm. I'm responsible for this. This is mine.
Yes.
God gave me this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I should protect it. So what I would say is for people to just protect yourself. Never leave anyone else responsible for your health.
Yeah. Depending on others, you've got it. It goes back to that self-love and self-care, which is so important for women to know and to do and to be reminded of.
Yes.
And that's why we as sisters are here today to talk about this and to remind, women that you should care about yourself. And if not, we're going to hold you accountable.
Yes.
Mia, what do you say to Joe's response? That microscope is still sticking in your mind?
That microscope gonna be there. That microscope gonna be there. But what I'll say is you can't expect someone else to do something that you ain't gonna do for yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts with yourself first. So you gotta make sure that you're avoiding it yourself, making sure that, are you safe? And making sure that you're making sure that that person is safe. Are you making the precautions yourself? And if you're not sure that that person did what he needs to do, then no, we can't do this.
Right.
We're not gonna do this because I'm gonna take care of me.
And that's so very important. Ladies, before you leave, I do want to get some closing comments from you as to, what do you think is important to leave with the audience, from what you've experienced with yourselves, your own journeys, and then also from the circle of women that you talk to and help. What is important for you to share for your closing thoughts? I'm going to start with you, Mia.
Well, if I can just leave anything, if you are diagnosed, you can live. You can live. You can live and live and live. Don't let the stigma, don't even pay any attention to it, because stigma is going to be there, but you will too.
Yeah.
Stigma is going to be there, but you will too.
Yeah. So do you prepare women for the stigmas, that are said and shared so that they know how to confront and deal with them?
I sure do.
Good.
I sure do.
That's good.
I tell them stigma, you gonna hear it.
Yeah.
You gonna hear it. But guess what? You gonna hear stigma and let stigma hear you.
Yeah.
You gonna see stigma. Let stigma see you. And when they see you, shine bright just like a diamond.
I love it, Mia. Thank you. Yes. Freda,
what I would say for the ladies, the ones that are not diagnosed, is to listen to what we're telling you out here and stay negative. Protect yourself and stay negative. And for the ones that are diagnosed, is that don't let anyone tell you that you can't live. I always say life after diagnosis. It's a wonderful thing. You just have to get out there and get it. And you can also still have babies. People not thinking, they're thinking that they can't have kids now. They can't get married. So just continue to live your life. So if you're negative, stay negative. If you're positive, get the help that you need and the support. It's out here.
Do people still think it's contagious? Do they call it a sin? Do they call it, what are some of those stigmas that are out there?
People still think they can get it by being in the room with someone, by hugging and kissing. Some people still think they can get it with sex. If I'm taking my medication, I'm more afraid of you than you're afraid of me, because I know I can't pass, due to science, I know I cannot pass the virus to you. So I'm more afraid what you may give me versus what I may give you. And I tell guys that all the time. I think I can still date, ain't all that, but hey, I can turn a couple of heads a little bit. But, so I let them know that I'm more afraid of what they may give me. They're like, oh no, I can't date you because I may get, I may get whatever you got.
That's right.
So we just could educate them, tell them continue to live life. Yeah.
That's good. And that's why these kinds of conversations are so very important.
Yes.
What about you, Marcella? What are your thoughts?
So again, ditto to what the lady said. And also women that are HIV possible, know your power. Ask the questions, and they're hard questions sometimes. Freda brought up the reality of that we, as specifically Black women, we don't want to talk about our men same gender loving. And that is just real.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard conversation, but it's a conversation that needs to happen, because the reality of it is that y'all might be able to get together and things are just good, but you want to know what their status is, that you want them to know your status and we want to know your status. That's the first part. The second part is that these conversations have to keep happening.
That's right.
And we all have to come to the table, and then we want our men to be allies. The third thing is that we, Lotus, Heather Ivy, Suave, we have made the commitment to come together. In coming together, we're doing a program on Saturday, and it's called We Wear Red Summit. And it's women that are HIV, living with HIV, and women that are status neutrals. A couple of people from Spelman are going to be there. So we got these young people there, and we have 2 workshops. We have an international HIV influencer that's going to bring in the keynote. We have some other activations that are going on. And it is intentional that we are bringing these women bringing us us to the table in loving on each other and supporting one another where we are. So we have to continue these conversations. My program is called SWAV, Sisters with a Voice, and we absolutely have a voice. And so you can go on our website, our Instagram, SWAV ATL. You can call us at 8 Atlanta. You want to be a part of SWAV. The gentlemen will be a part of being our allies, and the ladies, be it positive or possible, we can all do this together.
That's great. Now, where will this event take place and what time?
So the event is going to take place at the Loudermilk Event Center, 40 Cortlandt Street in downtown Atlanta. And the time is from 9 a.m. to 5, but it's really going to be like from 9 to 3. But we want to keep it open for dialogue and conversation because we know it's going to be a power-packed day. We're doing breakfast, we're doing lunch, and if you feel it, you can get there for 8 o'clock, and we're going to be doing some yoga and some mindful meditations.
That's good. Wow, yeah. That's good.
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, we certainly appreciate all of you for sharing with us today. This has been wonderful. I mean, some sister girl fun.
Yes.
All these divas up here. Yeah,
definitely. Thanks.
We're delighted. We're delighted to have you. And certainly, do you want to stress the importance of free HIV testing that's available to all?
So yes. Again, HF, and along with 8 Atlanta, we're at 1438 Peachtree Street, Northwest. And we do free testing. If you should test positive, not only for HIV, but for any STIs, we do treatment there. There is no cost for that. We are committed to community. You don't have to worry about finances, and you will get in immediately in the first 72 hours.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So women, listen, CARE is here. CARE is there. And they are committed. This is a sisterhood of women who have come together, not just during Women's History Month, but all year long, caring and loving for women 365, because we want you to become aware, educated, and informed about HIV. We want you to know so that you can share with other sisters and other girls, your partners, your family, and you don't have to be afraid. Why? Because you have a sisterhood here. Yeah. Thank you.